Hi, I'm Robert Resch. Welcome to the Asurface show, where we share useful information for project managers, architects, designers, builders, developers, and industry-related professionals. Here today with Kristen Nande. Kristen's the president of the SLBSA, that's the Small Local Business Suppliers Association, and we're here today to talk about the DGS Design Guide, new standards that's being presented. Tell me a little bit about the how and why of this design guide.
Well, the design guide has been several years in the making, and it's really born out of the district's desire to support their local CBE suppliers. Currently, the way that the CBE program is written, contractors have gotten really long-term success from the program. And I think the district just wants to see that same success trickle down to their suppliers. So we've compiled a number of products and a number of product categories that all support their local CBE supplier companies.
Oh, gotcha. And who are the members that are represented in here?
We have companies from tile, flooring, lighting, wall panels, windows, doors. It's a working, breathing, living document, and so the SLBSA is constantly updating it and making sure that it's current. We have a separate committee that actually handles the product selection and inclusion process. But for now, we've included as many product categories as we can, and as DGS talks to us about more of their needs and concerns, we add accordingly.
Gotcha. Okay, so explain to me for a minute the intent. What are the benefits of this program, this guide?
Well, the first benefit is this is an internal marketing tool for DGS. And the main goal is, again, to support the local CBE community. So everyone that's included in this guide is either a local supplier, or it could be a manufacturer or distributor that works closely with local suppliers that control their pricing, that allows that supplier to have access to projects that typically they would not have had access before. There's some additional benefits to standardization. We also address some lead time concerns. We address some quality control concerns. We address also some continuity concerns, not just with aesthetics, but making sure that the right products are in the right places and the right facilities. But the driving force behind this is support for the CBE community.
Okay, got it. So how does a product get included in this book? How does a supplier get chosen for this?
Sure. When DGS indicates to us that there's a hole that they need filled, we send out an RFQ. We then have a selection committee inside the SLBSA, and that committee is comprised of a local architect, a contractor, various other members within the SLBSA. They then go through a really strenuous verification and selection process, and then the products that make it through are then added to the book.
Kristen, talk to me about the benefits of a design guide for DGS, DHS, DCPS. How does having this guide benefit them?
Well, the first piece, and always at the forefront of this, is support for the CBE supplier community. A lot of times these agencies, these organizations want to use local suppliers. They just don't know where to find them. And so, often it's just easier to go to the manufacturer that they know, or the one that's just most convenient or most available. And so they don't get to support their community the way that they would like. So this puts all of those suppliers in one place at one time. That's the primary focus. There are some other supplementary benefits that you get to having standardization: inventory control and management, maintenance control and management. You have some issues with product continuity in different spaces, quality control, deliverables, making sure things get on time. A lot of times you'll have projects that are held up because the materials lead times are too long, and maybe the project manager or the specifier didn't realize how long that lead time is. So this book seeks to kind of streamline all of those efficiencies.
So, Kristen, you talked about some of these benefits, and I'm looking at this through the lens of a project manager.
Mm-hmm.
A project manager is actively engaged in coordinating everything to deliverables and making sure materials are on time, that trades are following in sequential order. And I know a unique challenge is inventory controls, and I can see how standardization can help with that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the qualifications when we're going through the selection process for getting products in the book, inventory and stock is a huge component of that piece, because we understand that a lot of times, if you have a project that's years and years out, maybe you have time to order the material. Sometimes you need something next week. And so we've tried as hard as we can to fill this guide with as many in stock and available items as possible. Where that isn't possible, we've gone with products that have the most aggressive lead times, even for, traditionally longer customized products like doors. We've still tried to find the most aggressive lead times so that project managers can order their material, even if they're in a pinch, and get things delivered on time.
Sure. So, any objection that someone might have is going to be related to the quality, the price, and the availability, right? Mm-hmm. And so, am I correct in saying that the objective of these standards is to control just that? The quality, the price, and the availability of the items? It's
to control all of those things and to kind of set a bar for those things. And I think, one other objection that a lot of people may have is, if I have to pick just from this book, then that means every facility is going to look the same. These are my only options. And we've tried to do as best as we could as giving a wide variety of options so that it doesn't become dull and that you do have a lot of choices when you're in the design process.
Sure.
But it also gives you a baseline for quality, because within the book you also have a specification that needs to be met. And that specification is the quality control piece. So, even if the material or the color that you're looking for isn't in this book, you can still go to that manufacturer and say, I need this, and here's the spec I need to meet.
Understood. So looking at this now through a different lens, and let's talk about some of the objections, because if I'm a designer and I have the opportunity to pick from the entire universe of products within a specific budget, I can use my creativity, that I was hired to do.
Right.
And then if a designer's handed this book and said, these, go to work, and these are the only choices, how do you speak to that person?
Well, again, we hope that we've included enough options that you feel comfortable for a bulk of the projects that you're working with. But we do understand you're not going to use this book 100% of the time for everything.
Right.
What we do hope to do is, again, put in front of the designer options that maybe they didn't know that they had for companies that they may have not have even known they existed. And I think a designer, an architect is going to open the book and see some familiar companies that they're already working with and doing business with.
Sure.
At the very least, they'll have a specification that they know, if I meet this spec, this is a product that the quality will match DGS's or, whatever agency's desire.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. And another question I have is are there any pricing parameters? I can see as a supplier myself how I can go to a manufacturer and negotiate more favorable pricing to be able to participate in this program. Is that something that the manufacturers or the suppliers here have been able to do to bring pricing in line?
Absolutely. I actually come from a manufacturing rep background. And I know as a rep, typically I control pricing for my specific products. So let's say I'm selling you carpet. You're my favorite subcontractor, so your price is price A. Contractor B, C, and D come in, they're not my favorite, so their prices could be B, C, and D that are significantly more than yours.
Right.
That doesn't benefit the agency. It doesn't benefit the local supplier, who typically does not have that relationship with that manufacturer or distributor. So what we've done is we've gone in and negotiated with the distributors and the manufacturers that are in this book, and they will extend that same preferential pricing to local suppliers who are qualified to do the work as they would with their favorite dealers. The goal is not to give them, a cheaper price than someone else. The goal is to allow them to have the same advantage that anyone else bidding the job has. And more often than not, local small businesses don't get that opportunity.
Got it. So, and if I'm hearing you correctly, ultimately the DGS, the project owner, the DCPS is going to get the biggest bang for their buck
Yes.
from using the products
Yes.
and the standards. Okay, so you've spoken to the quality, you've spoken to the inventory controls. What about, I know there's I hear it talked about a lot at DGS is controlling attic stock.
Mm-hmm.
Do these manufacturers have to maintain inventory of these or attic stock? Or?
Most manufacturers do maintain attic stock. And our thinking was when, we approached the problem of how does DGS, for example, maintain their inventory. First question that I had is why should you? Why should you maintain inventory when the manufacturer can?
Right.
And if you can wait a day or two to get your material, then you don't have to worry about maintaining the attic stock, locating the attic stock, making sure that someone is properly caring for the attic stock so that you're not, a lot of times they're repurchasing material that they already have because it's either damaged or lost. This way, you're able to look through the book, find what's available, find what's in stock, and order that material right away, and you'll get it within a day or two.
Okay, so for example, schools being built and they, have X number of types of doors. Will the onus of responsibility be on the dooring supplier to keep that stock in their warehouse or at their manufacturing headquarters based on the requirements of the DGS, or will it be brought to DGS to be stored in a warehouse for later use? How does that work?
Doors is typically a unique situation just because there's a level of customization that goes into fabricating the doors. But for most other products in the guide, flooring, lighting, wall panels, wall tiles, the manufacturer will store the material. The subcontractor will then take on that material, and then DGS will be delivered the material instead of DGS in this instance taking on the responsibility and the liability of storing the attic stock.
Okay, got it. Great. So if there is a problem, a concern on a project, a project manager isn't able to get the answers that they want to get, does your association field those calls
Yes.
and facilitate engagement to make sure that deliverables are occurring as they should?
Yes. If there's any issues, concerns, questions, one of the roles of the SLBSA is to maintain not only the book, but the integrity of the program. And so, a part of my job and a part of that committee's job is to make sure that manufacturers, the vendors, the suppliers are all acting in accordance with the policies of this design guide.
Kristen, so if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, they hate this, they love it, what do they do?
Click on the button below. That'll take you right to our website. You can check out some information about the SLBSA. You can also reach me there directly, or you can just reply to this email and I'll get that as well.
That's great. DGS Design Guide, a means to more with less. This is good stuff. Thanks for joining us.
I like that.
Thanks.
Thank you.